Hello and welcome to another episode of What to Pick. This is the video series where I go over a few different starting hands and explain what I would pick and why. And this is the first episode of What to Pick, where we actually have the promo corps available. I know it's been out for quite a while, but I've been gone on vacation and I just had a lot to do in the meantime. But at least I played, I think, at least one game that I uploaded on YouTube as well with the promo corps. I think I played this one, Arcadian Communities, which is one of the stronger ones, in my opinion. But it's up against Point Luna here in the first hand, which is a top tier corp. So let's see if we see a reason to play Arcadian Communities. Huge Asteroid is a good prelude if you're going to rush. Research Network is a good prelude if you're going to play Engine. Early Settlement is okay on classes, which we are playing on, because it helps towards Builder, Mayor, and to a lesser extent also Gardener. And Loan is pretty much always terrible. So it's between these three, and we really need to see the starting hand to see whether we are going for an Engine strat or a Rush strat. And honestly, the starting hand is quite atrocious. So there's one good card here, which is Optimal Arrow Breaking. The rest is not great. So we don't have a lot of building text, early playable building text. We have one building text in Colonizer Training Camp. And that's the only reason to pick Arcadian Communities here. Because you start with 10 steel with that corp. We also don't seem to have a good ground game in the early game here, because we don't have any plant prod. You would never want to play Artificial Photosynthesis for plant prod. So basically no reason to pick Arcadian Communities here, in my opinion. Sure, you could get one plant prod out of Early Settlement, but that's not enough to justify that corp, I think. By the way, if you don't know what Arcadian Communities does, basically, it starts with 10 steel and 40 MC, so you are looking for building text, same as with IC, but to a less extent, because it's just a part of your starting capital and not the majority of your starting capital that is in steel. Then you get to place a marker, like with land claim each gen, to reserve tiles, and if you place tiles there on the reserved areas, you get 3 MC back. I thought, when I played with this corp, that the first marker could be placed freely. So if you start with a tile from your prelude, you could place this one freely, and then only the other markers that you can place have to be next to your tiles or marked areas, but that's not the case. This must have been clarified in the meantime. It's not clarified on this corporation, because this first marker is placed by this effect, by a starting effect, and this doesn't clarify that it needs to be adjacent to one of your tiles or marked areas. But whatever. Arcadian Communities basically likes to see a lot of building text in your starting hand and a ground game, basically. And we have none of that. So we're going with Point Luna. We are definitely picking Huge Asteroid here, because our starting hand doesn't offer a lot to play in the first gen, meaning that the -5 MC doesn't really matter. And then the prelude is just top tier, because it grants 3 heat bumps, which also immediately gains you a heat prod. And then Research Network, because we are looking for some cards to play. On this first set of cards, I would probably pick Trans-Neptune Pro. With Research Network, the card draw, and the wild tag there, it's pretty possible that we could go for a science strat. I'm definitely going to pick Optimal Arrow Breaking, because it's just one of the best cards in the game. And other than that, we have really not much to do on the starting hand. Ants is never keep, except maybe on Hellas sometimes on your starting hand. Callisto Penal Mines is atrocious. Special Design is atrocious here, because we don't have kelp farming or anything. Artificial, you could gamble on. Maybe you find Strip Mine with Research Network, but I wouldn't gamble on it here, because Point Luna couldn't really afford both artificial and strip mine in Gen 1. Colonizer training camp. We are not going for builder. We don't have any steel. We are not white war. No reason to pick this. Land claim, just not really worth it in the first gen. I could maybe see myself picking tardigrades because we have not much else to do. And playing this in the first gen just means that you're getting at least 2 points out of it. So maybe tardigrades. And then shuttles is just not a pick in the first gen because of the high requirement. So basically it's probably these 3 cards and just hope that you draw something with Research Network and the free card draw from Point Luna. So yeah, not a great starting hand, but sometimes you get these and you need to make the best out of it. And yeah, this is what I would pick, but definitely let me know in the comments whether you had decided differently here, because there are some routes, as I said. You could think about artificial, you could think about colonizer, maybe even go for Arcadian, but I really like the card draw with Point Luna to hope and find something better here. Or even if you would have picked early settlement over huge. Definitely Research Network here, I'm quite sure, because of the card draw. But yeah. Let's move on to the second hand and hope that it's a better one. All right, hand number 2 is a decision between Saturn Systems and Splice. Splice is also obviously one of the new corps, and it's not great. It heavily focuses on microbe cards, but microbe cards are not that great in the base game, plus preludes. Also plus Venus Next. There's like one new really good microbe card in Venus Next, so for eating bacteria. But this, by the way, this game is just base game. But it's on Hellas, which makes Splice a little bit better because of Eccentric. Because Splice can grant you extra microbes. Major problem with Splice is that it also grants your opponent something when they play microbe cards. And this just means that in a 2-player game, it's basically neutral if your opponent plays a microbe card. Let's say in a 4-player game, one of your opponents plays a microbe card, only that guy gets a bonus and you, so you're still better off against the other 2 guys that didn't play a microbe card. But in 2-player games, Splice is pretty horrendous. So Saturn Systems is most certainly better, but let's see what we get here. Mining operations is quite good on Hellas because of Contractor. Loan again is terrible, wouldn't pick that. Biolab is just a worse version of Research Network. And then Polar Industries is okay, but we will have to see what we get on the starting hand. Oh my god, Arctic Algae. Okay, Arctic Algae is insane. I wouldn't pick Polar Industries in this case, because we don't want to place an ocean before playing Arctic Algae. And Biolab actually combos quite nicely with Arctic Algae, because it grants Plant Prot, which obviously combos well with Arctic Algae, and it draws you 3 cards, which increases your chance of drawing into ocean cards. So that's nice. But Arctic Algae is definitely a card which you want to focus your game around. And other good cards on here, definitely Colonizer Training Camp. This is actually like possible to play with Splice because of Regolith Eaters and GHG producing bacteria. So let's first talk about a Saturn Systems line and then talk about a Splice line. So Saturn Systems, which I think would be the better pick here. Biolab and Mining Ops for sure. We go for Arctic Algae. We go for Colonizer Training Camp. These are obvious, like Colonizer Training Camp plus Saturn Systems. First of all, 1 more MC prot than usual, and it leaves you with 2 Jovians for Rim Settler. Just 1 more, and you get that very easy milestone. I would probably keep Immigrant Cities. Cities have, in my opinion, quite a bit of value in Hellas because of the South Pole, because of the good conversion slots up north, and because city tags are quite rare, so it's definitely effective for Diversifier. I could see myself picking up GHG producing bacteria here, because with Arctic Algae and the plant prot from Biolab, it is looking like oxygen will rise up relatively fast, and then GHG producing bacteria is quite nice. If heat should max out first, we can use this to collect some microbes for eccentric, but it's unlikely that that will be the case. Other than that, there's a few cards to discuss here. Farming, I would never keep on the starting hand, except you have ecology experts. Snow algae could be of interest here, because we're going for a ground game and we want to place oceans. This parameter or this requirement could be met quite soon. The card is not insanely great. Like, it's basically, if you compare it to Micromills plus Adapted Light, it's 3 MC cheaper than both of those cards combined, because you need to buy both of these cards. But it also has this requirement, and both of those cards are not great. But if you know that the requirement is met quite soon, and you know that you want some more plant and heat prods, Snow algae can be good. Not quite sure if that's the case here. Building industries, I wouldn't pick because we already have 2 steel prod. Power supply consortium, we don't have any power tax, so probably wouldn't pick this, even though the power could be useful for Immigrant City. Regular eaters, definitely not a pick for Saturn systems. And then standard tech could be interesting. It's always a card that allows you to be a lot more flexible than usual, and either end the game faster than usual, or get some power prod, or just spam out some center project cities in the late game. I don't think there's a big reason to pick it here, so I probably would skip it. Although we could SP a power for Immigrant City, but we're not in a big rush to play this. So probably would skip it, and probably would just take Snow algae. It helps us get GHG producing bacteria out. So this would basically be my setup for Saturn systems. Play Colonizer Training Camp and Arctic Algae Gen 1, get some oceans down to convert greeneries, so that we can get Snow algae and GHG producing bacteria online, and play Immigrant City if we want to go for Polar Explorer, the South Pole, or the good conversion spots up north. But as I said, there is also a Splice line here. And with Splice, I probably would pick the same preludes here, because we still want to go for Arctic algae. Still want to go, probably don't want to go for snow algae in this case, but we want to go for Regolith eaters. Regolith eaters is much better if you get, first of all, Splice gets a 2 MC rebate when playing it, and it gets an immediate microbe on it, making this card has 2 problems. It's slow and it's expensive, and Splice helps with both. Makes it faster, at least for the first oxygen bump, and it makes it cheaper. And also, it has 2 useful tags for Diversifier, although the science tag we already have from Biolabs. Regular eaters combos really nicely with GSG producing bacteria, because we get to rush up the oxygen track a bit faster. That's also the reason why we don't pick Snow algae. And that allows us to play this card, which in turn, again, is cheaper and is faster because of the ability of Splice. So this would, we probably could skip Colonizer here because we don't get MC prod and we don't have a Jovian tag. But this would probably be my setup for Splice, and I think it won't be too bad. So yeah, I think this is one of the rare games where Splice is actually okay. But let me know in the comments whether you agree or not. And let's move on to the last hand. I rolled 3 times and I rolled all 3 different promo corps, which is definitely nice. And this time we have Recyclon, probably my favorite out of the bunch. Even I wouldn't say it's the strongest, but it's my favorite to play. So basically what this does is it grants you a free plant prod for every 3rd building tag you play, because each building tag either grants you a microbe on the corp or lets you remove 2 microbes to get a plant prod. Because it's microbes, you can also cheat that system with stuff like Extreme Cold Fungus. So if you ever get Extreme Cold Fungus plus Recyclon, that's a pretty busted combo. But let's pick it for now and let's see what we get. First of all, oh my god, this is like an insanely good set of preludes for Recyclon. Recyclon is really good at producing plants if you also get some building tags. And playing these 2 together means that you immediately get a plant prod for free because Recyclon also has a building tech. And that means you start the game with a free plant prod and 5 heat prod, making you quite good at rushing. Let's see if we find more building techs. We do. We actually do. All right. Oh my god. Interesting starting hand. Lava Flows is a no-brainer on Elysium. The volcanic areas are really good. Optimally, you want to get Olympus ones, but Elysium ones and Asia ones are also quite good. Building tags, extra value with Recyclon, and we have 2 steel prod, one from the core and one from mobile excavation. So pretty nice. Symbiotic fungus is the other way to cheat the Recyclon system in the base game. Although I don't really know if it is worth it to keep in the starting hand because of the high requirement. At that point, the value of getting free plant prod has already decreased by quite a lot. But you also have 5 freaking heat prod off the go, plus some instant heat. So it could be worth it. Definitely the other building tags and space elevator, of course, is top tier if you have 2 steel prod. Definitely building business contacts to fish for more building tags. What does that leave us with? I would probably skip urbanized area. This leaves us with 20 MC, which would be enough to play lava flows. And then in Gen 2 we could convert and get the bonus heat prod. Probably with lava flows and the heat prod we have, I think symbiotic fungus is a good pick. I wanted to skip it for solar wind power, but I would rather try and find some building tech power producers. Noctis farming really good in the setup because heat will be rushing up, and it's a building tech. Gives us some plan for maybe a conversion. I really like the setup with Recyclon. I think these 6 cards are pretty good for that corp. And I could imagine like picking up solar wind power as well, or urbanized area, not GHG because heat is already racing up faster than oxygen, and not toll station obviously. But picking up only these 6 has the upside of being able to play lava flows Gen 1 and either getting cards, or if we're unlucky, getting titanium or this spot here, which is also quite good. Probably wouldn't go over here because we want to convert, and the conversion spots around the Elysium ones are just not that great. But there's definitely, like, you could definitely go for Helion here as well with all of the seed prod. Definitely skip symbiotic in that case and pick up solar wind instead. Still space elevator because you have mobile excavation. And I would leave the rest as is. But I honestly think Recyclon is better here. I think this is one of the best Recyclon hands I've seen in a while. So yeah, really like it. But yeah, if you enjoyed this episode, please leave a like and consider subscribing. And let me know in the comments what you would have decided in these situations. And yeah, I hope I see you in the next one. Have a good one, guys, and goodbye.